In 1933, Fred Bear created a legacy, pursuing his lifelong passion. Fred's mission was to ensure archery remains accessible to everyone. Here at Bear Archery, we promise to never forget the principles our brands were founded on. From the youngest archer to the oldest, we strive to build bows that give you the best shooting experience. Visit beararchery.com to discover more.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Friends of NRA is your chance to support our Second Amendment rights and preserve America's hunting traditions. Join Friends of NRA at one of our 600 exciting events nationwide. From games to auctions and exclusive firearms, Friends of NRA events are your chance to support a cause you care about while having a great time with patriots in your community. Whether you're a seasoned shooter, an avid hunter or outdoorsman, or passionate about freedom, there's a place for you within Friends of NRA. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you. Stand up for freedom with the Friends of NRA.
A little bit different than normal, but a topic that me and Steve both really wanted to talk about, and something that I think that we need to kind of crack into. I know it's a week before deer hunting season, but I think it's an important thing. It's been offshore fishing, and we talk about how we're full outdoors, and this is something that definitely needs to be brought to the table. This is an not only an, I guess. We'll let Ralph explain it all. But this is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm here with the madman himself. What's up, buddy?
I'm here.
Yeah. So I mean, this topic is a pretty cool topic, right? And I just kind of want to break into it because it's one that's kind of been leading on for quite some time, right? So they had done, Along the Keel had done a podcast, and we'll kind of get into that. But they had a diverse round table of different people around and I kind of picked out Ralph just because Ralph is very strong about certain opinions, right? And it's very good, and I'm in agreement with him 110%. And I think that, I think all of our listeners need to hear about, because not everybody pays attention to what's going on out there. They might be, hunters, but not full-fledged, or they might be fishermen, but not offshore fishermen. I mean, so it's kind of one of those things.
I mean, I think it goes deeper than hunters and fishermen. Anybody that enjoys the ocean or the coastline, like, I don't care if you're a bird watcher or you sail a sailboat, you know what I mean? You don't actually have to be after game species to, for this topic to behoove you.
Right, exactly. Yep. So, let's talk a little bit about hunting real quick, and kind of dive into that. I mean, are you ready for opening day, dude? Coming right around the corner?
I am 100% ready. I do not know if the deer are ready for me.
Why do you say that?
I just don't know if they're ready.
Oh.
Camera's been a little weird lately.
I know,
good,
right?
But
yeah, and this warm.
I'm not discouraged. I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast. I'm not a consistent early season killer, so I think I've played my cards, to the best of my ability, as the season goes on. But like going into opening week, I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit you and be like, oh, dude, I'm gonna run in there and smoke this thing, opening week.
Yeah.
But I like what's going on out there. Like, I'm pretty consistent. I've got options. I'm ready to play the game.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part about deer hunting, man. Especially with the bow, is like you're playing the game.
My thing is the weather, dude. Like the change in the weather. Like we've had 40-degree nights, and now it's gonna go to 60-degree nights, and it's gonna be 85 degrees on Saturday, the day before opening day. Like it's a scary thing, dude. That's like it's a little weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I am definitely not a morning early season hunter, but I think I might jump into a tree Sunday morning just because I can. just because I can. Like,
I'm with you there. I'm going to jump in the tree either the morning or the night, right? Just to hunt because we know that we can, right? And then just kind of wait for that temperature break. You know what I'm saying? Like
a little burner, just a little burner spot. But like come sunrise Sunday morning, it's officially deer season, and I'm going to be in a tree somewhere.
No, and you know what's kind of crazy too is that, you know, to think about it is not only is hunting season right here, but like some of, you know, I've been watching the internet. I know this is going to be more of like a fishing podcast, right? So I'll talk about this, but like some of our friends have like been crushing it. Like, dude, the Aubrey Joy just came back in. They filled the boat. They were back off. They came from the canyons. They crushed it. T. Hepburn just was smashing sharks for the past couple of days. Like, dude, with this weather, it just makes me almost want to like not go hunting and like go offshore on Sunday because it's gonna be so damn nice. But for the camaraderie of deer hunting, you got to go out the first day, right?
Yeah, go fishing Saturday.
Yeah, no, Big E, dude. It's Big E for you New Englanders. It's Big E, man. It's opening weekend of the Big E. You can't miss the Big E.
Oh, we didn't get a booth at the Big E. What up?
We can get. You want to get a booth at the Big E? Don't tempt me with a good time. What's that?
Isn't the Big E 3 weeks?
I think it's something like. I mean, it's
3 weekends.
So it starts
3 weekends.
It starts this weekend and then it ends like the end of the month. So it's virtually an entire month. I mean, like or half a month, right? It's just whatever. I don't know. There's no point in us sitting there, but I don't know.
Eat a lot of food and get fat.
That would be the only thing, right?
Yeah.
Fair food. I don't know. I just want this. It doesn't look like in the near future there's going to be any sort of temperature break. I don't see anything really.
Because when it does come, it's going to be fire, right? I mean, of course you want good hunting weather right off the rip, right? But think about it. Let's say even like the first 2 weeks it's hot. Get into October and give me like a 15-degree temperature drop overnight. Like shit's going to die. Shit's going to be moving.
No, it's definitely that, but we had it. It's here. Like that's the upsetting part. Like Maryland opener, Kentucky opener, these guys crushed it. And they had the tent break.
I would like to go back a couple episodes. I don't remember which one, but I think you remember. I think I remember you saying like, "Oh, it's cold. The heat's over." And I was like, "Watch your mouth. It's gonna get hot. I can guarantee you, it's gonna get hot again." And you're like, "Nah, it's over."
Of course, it got hot when we didn't want it to get hot. When it wasn't needed to get hot. It's just
always.
But it's here, man. Opener's here, and it only can get better from here on out.
Right around the corner. It'll be here before you know it.
I know. And, you know, it's funny. Is it kind of upsetting because I had, for the past 6 days consecutively, I had a big buck on film every single night. He was on camera every single night. It started to get a little bit warmer. He started going a little bit later. One night he didn't show up. And then he came even later, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, so upset. I'm like, I already had him. Dude, I already knew what pose I was going to get him for the wall. Like, I was he's done. He's done, son. No, not the case. Yeah. But
I'm just doing a couple last-minute things here. You know what I did today that was, like, extremely satisfying, as weird as it sounds? I cleaned out my freezer.
Oh.
Like I took everything out.
Yeah.
Like that thing has been plugged in since like 2017.
I know.
I found all my deer tags. Like I save all my deer tags when I kill a deer. It goes in the freezer with the meat, and I just have like a stack of tags. So I never really looked at them. So I like laid out all my tags. I was like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, dude, I took everything out of my freezer, put it in another freezer, unplugged it for the night, let it thaw out. Bleached everything, wiped everything down. It's drying right now, so I can plug it back in, get it nice and like, dude, I'm getting ready. Like I'm prepping everything.
I totally agree. I agree.
Ready.
Let's blast through the sponsors real quick. It looks like our guest is in the green room, so let's get through those sponsors and let's get them on, dude. I mean, let's no further ado. First off, Bowtech, refuse to fall. If you guys haven't gone out and shot a Bowtech, make sure to get down to your local bow shop and do so. We are title sponsored by Bowtech. Also, Huntworth Gear, huntworthgear.com. Get more for less with Huntworth. We believe in the product. We've been hunting it now a couple of years. The new verdict is out. Always a good sale, so make sure to get on huntworth.com and check them out. Fourth Arrow camera arms, always in the tree with us. If you guys haven't used them, go and check them out. They're tripods for turkey season, some of the best there is. Fluid heads when we're trying to film, always good to have. Latitude Outdoors, the new saddles are on the market. If you guys haven't gone and checked those out, you might want to. The Lone Star will definitely keep you in the tree much longer because of comfort. LatitudeOutdoors.com. There was some bite bow hangers still in stock. I know that they had sold out of the Ranger 22 and also the platform, but there is some good stuff. Get on the notification so you don't miss out on that.
I can't think of it off the top of my head. There's a couple of third-party stores online that have Ranger 22s. You can't get them direct from Latitude.
Oh, the Shields have them on there? I didn't know.
It wasn't Shields. It was another company I wasn't familiar with, but I'm sure if you Google it, you might be able to find some out there.
And last but not least, Nor'easter game calls, guys. I do want to break out some news real quick. We did get our patent pending on the new Mercenary line. Just so you guys do know, I'll drop that first here just so you guys know it. We'll do a full podcast, full YouTube review on that product. So it's going to be full-fledged for this coming up deer season. There is a patent pending. So just so you guys know, some good news. But we'll talk about that here on out. But let's get on Ralph.
I got one real quick.
What's that?
I was talking to Michael Klubik the other day. I told him I'd give him a quick shout out. He is running the big buck thing for Bow Hunter exclusive. I've had some other people run it in the past. We won't get into it, but Mike's a good dude. I'll vouch for him. He's running the show over there now. If you guys are Connecticut bow hunters, if you're interested in getting in, I think it's $25 to get in or $40 for a 2-man team, but you have until Saturday night to get in on that. It's Bow Hunter exclusive. Reach out to Mike.
Are we going to get a team on there, Steve? We should mop up, or what are we doing?
I was thinking about it. I kind of, like I said, I talked to Mike. Right. He's a good dude, and he's running it now. So
all right, maybe we'll talk about that off air.
Talk to you off air, but I forgot, and so now we're talking about it on air. So
it's all right.
For everybody else listening, it's 25. If you got a halfway decent buck on a trail camera somewhere, you're crazy to not throw $25 down. Even if you don't think you got a chance, you never know, right? It's $25.
Totally true. So. Well, let's go talk offshore, wind farms and fishing and kind of turn the pages a little bit, and we'll get Ralph on here.
Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, guys. Episode 260. We are back with Ralph Craft from Crafty One Customs. How we doing, Ralph?
Living the dream. I always say that. It is what it is another thing we say in the military, so take what you want.
Well, no, without further ado, man, we'll put this thing right into four-wheel drive. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do. Let's get to know Ralph.
Geez, that's deep. Real short story of it. I own a tackle shop in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. I'd like to think we're known for our custom fishing rods, but we are a full tackle shop. We run things a little different. I don't sell online. I like to know my people. I like to know my employees and my customers. But we're just about giving a real experience in the United States of America and to the world, by the way, because we do sell around the world. So just giving something special to someone that means something. Usually there's a lineage or something in a rod that really gives them a memory or something that either gets handed down or has come from being handed down.
Where did it start for you, like as far as like the rod building and custom rods and so on and so forth? Because it didn't start in a tackle shop.
You really want to know?
Yeah, I do want to know. We want to know, Ralph.
All right. Truth of the matter is, I'm one of those veterans with the good old PTSD, right? And I was working and just really needed a break. I needed something that made my head feel better. I've seen a lot of things that people haven't seen, and I needed a getaway. And somebody mentioned to me, someone I love dearly mentioned to me that I should start doing fishing rods because this big oaf actually has an artistic side to him. And I started doing it, and I felt better, boys. I felt better. All right. So, I'm not embarrassed to say it because it's something that's happened and it's true. And then it's grown into something to where you be careful what you wish for. So, here I am now with all the boys in the shop that work with me and all the people around, and I'm grateful. And yeah, you know, head's still not perfect, but I feel a lot better.
A lot better. You've impacted a lot of people's lives over the years, and it's funny is because when I had first met you, it was, oh my gosh, it had to have been 8-10 years ago. We were actually at I think it was the Hartford show originally, maybe if I was correct. Yep. It was the Hartford show, and it was just kind of a small little thing. And then now you see throughout the internet, like everybody has Crafty One, and it's kind of crazy. It's like a battle. Who can get this rod and that rod? It's actually really cool.
It's humbling is the word I would prefer. And by the way, there's a lot of people and guys behind me that make that happen too. So kudos to them also.
So I mean, obviously the big thing is like, so they can only get the rods from your shop. You cannot order them online. You cannot.
Yeah, I don't sell online. I want to know my customers. If you want to order something from us, call us. I don't care where you're from. I throw this out there all the time, like the Winnebago chart on the back of the camper. I've sold to every state in the United States of America except for South Dakota. I don't know what's wrong with those people, but and then we've sold to over 30 countries around the world, and it's all been through word of mouth. So being an old business or an old style business really does still exist, but I ain't gonna lie to you, it's getting harder. It's getting harder. So, but yeah, we if you want something from us, give us a call.
Yeah, especially if you're out there listening from South Dakota. Like, let's get this. Let's check that box.
It just kills me, man. It totally kills me.
If you're listening to this from South Dakota, you could be the first in your state. So
I swear to God, I might send a rod for free just to be like, let's have a party. I'll just be totally stoked.
I'm thinking about texting all my friends in South Dakota. Hey, yo, fishing rod.
Right, I'm in. So, but, yeah. So it's definitely been a great ride, and it's been. I don't know. I'm really grateful.
That's awesome. So. That is super humbling. I couldn't imagine being, your name is on those rods as they leave, and that's something that you started. One of the main reasons and the big thing and why most of the people are probably here listening is this whole offshore wind farm thing that's been going on for such a long time, and there's been people fighting for it, and you see it all on the internet, but I think that a lot of people don't really know really what it is and the impacts of it and where it all started and why and so on and so forth. Can you just start from the beginning and kind of paint the picture, and then we can kind of really dive in and dig this thing wholly apart?
All right. So I really don't know where, in my opinion, this whole thing is a money grab. This whole thing, just going to start out with that. Again, I told you boys, I'm going to be straightforward. You don't take something, steel, and put it in the middle of the ocean, accept it, and expect it to survive. It's just stupid, okay? And they've been fighting for this for years, and it's foreign money that's coming to the United States of America. And it's Americans, in my opinion, selling us out. I'm just going to say that straight out. Because I've come to the opinion that there's only one of two reasons that you would support this. And that is either you're ignorant or you're on the take. Now, that being said, I will say I am not against renewable energy. I'm against ignorant renewable energy. All right. So in my opinion, or in a reference that I would say is like, you don't take and cut down the Amazon rainforest to put up solar panels. Right. And it's just stupid. And that's what they're doing out there. They're taking the whole entire Rhode Island Sound and just crushing it in all these beautiful fishing grounds. and these grounds that spawn and everything and destroying it. And they haven't given us the proof that it's not going to destroy our waters, and we're going to be left with just a disaster. That's my concern. That's my genuine concern. I'm here on this podcast with you guys not to strike a flame and have a protest, but to hope that people will educate themselves. One, not to be on a, just to say this one time, my wife and I are both veterans. My wife and I have given our best to this country, and we believe that you have a right to make a choice, and we believe that you have a right to decide to disagree with me, but we are mature enough to agree to disagree with you. So I would like the people that hear this and think that I'm a fucking idiot. There's your first F-bomb. All right.
It was within 8 minutes.
Sorry, that they have the same respect that I have for their opinion that they have for mine. And I think that's a big problem in the world today. All right.
I'd have to agree with that, honestly. And you know what? We can all have a conversation about anything. It could be, why the sky is blue. As long as, we can have educated conversations and disagree, right? And that's fine. But when you start to infringe on somebody and what they're saying, that's when the problem occurs, right? Like you have to have an educated conversation with somebody. And I think who really is honestly agreeing with doing this? That's what I don't understand. That's the tough thing. I mean,
there's a lot of people, I think, that, all right, and I'm going to stay away from the politics of this, right, because I'm going to be judged as being, Trump, whatever you want. Okay. Not leaving the politics out of this. I look at every situation as I do as a soldier. I look at every situation, I evaluate what's going on, and then I make my choices to move forward. This situation doesn't make any sense to me. They're failing left and right. We just saw in China with the typhoon how these things got destroyed in China. And if someone wants to go and check that, please go and check that. They got destroyed. We had one blade fail, and it started out going to Nantucket and the Martha's Vineyard, but it ended up all the way at Montauk, okay? All the way on the shores of Newport, all the way over Block Island. That's one blade out of potentially 3,000+ blades are going to be out there. What happens when something comes through, a hurricane comes through and just tears this all apart, and we're just left with pieces. We're left with pieces. And not just pieces of, debris on the ocean, pieces of our economy, pieces of our livelihood. And I'm going to fight for it. When I think's right, I'm going to fight for it. And I just hope people, okay, put it on land, fine, that's one thing. Put it out in the ocean. And by the way, I don't think people realize how big these things are. Every single one of these is bigger than any building in Boston. This is no joke, right? And they talk about these things with Martha's Vineyard, and they talk about the 5 in Martha's Vineyard and this beautiful little test that they have. Those are totally different. These are monopylons getting slammed into the ocean. There's tons of rock being dropped on the bottom of the ocean. They're destroying everything, and not just, there's so many ways to take this, and we don't have time, but they're not only are they destroying the fishery and fry, and for people that don't understand that's baby fish and different stuff that's going on. There's also shipwrecks, there's history, there's so much down there that we supposedly protect, but they just said, no, we got a lot of money here, so fuck it, send it, full send. And I'm really unhappy about it. I don't know what else to say. I could talk forever, boys. I don't.
It's okay. Keep going, Ralph, because
I mean, my whole point is, if there's certain things I want taken from this, is that they're privatizing the money. Okay, foreign money. They're privatizing the money for foreign entities in the United States of America but they're publicizing the consequences. So we're giving the money to them, but the consequences are going to fall on us. And I am sick of it. I am done with it. We if they're going to make the profit, and by the way, if this is so profitable and so awesome and so amazing, why are there so many subsidies? Why are they making so much money off of us? If it was so profitable, why are there not billionaires just throwing money at it and we're all like, yay, it's good? It's common sense to me that is being looked over and being passed upon. And it's going to potentially ruin a lot. And so I got to give me a break. I got to take
No, so one of the things too, and it being it on of all places, Cox's Ledge, right? It was some of the best cod fishing there was, some of the best tuna fish. I mean, my whole entire life, that's where we would fish, day in and day out, and the fishery that's there, and for them to ruin such a thing, and not even that, but like the commercial fishermen that come out of Rhode Island that go there to fish, or the charter boat captains that go there to fish. I mean, it's literally a gauntlet of these giant towers that is ruining some of the best fishing grounds since people would go there in the 50s, the 40s to go out there and codfish. And literally we are ruining one of the best places that we have in the Rhode Island Sound.
Show me one environmental survey from those people that shows that. I've been fighting this for 3 years, right? Show me one environmental survey that says, oh no, this will happen or this will happen. I generally hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am. But I hope I'm wrong. But I don't see it being wrong. When you go to a breeding ground for something like that and you start pounding these pylons in that are monopylons that are like 40 feet around, roughly 40 feet around, you start blowing them into the ground. Crustaceans, like, when you have like lobsters and squid, that pound just goes through their body and just kills them. It just it's like having an immediate heart attack. It just sends them to them. And if you talk to people and people that are honest, you'll see people on the water. They'll tell you, I'm miles away and I can feel it, hear it. And you're like, what is that? What is that? Then you know what it is. Now, they don't want you to hear that. So they don't want to see that. And it's then there's the eyesore part of it, right? So let's imagine they put up these thousands of windmills, right? And red blinking lights, which they say they're going to turn the red blinking lights off. I call bullshit on that. And they're all supposed to blink together. It's going to look like LaGuardia Airport out there from the shoreline. And anybody that's coming over the Newport Bridge, coming into Rhode Island or Quinting Island, where I live, on a clear day, and I want you to look out, and you're going to see these windmills that are 17 miles offshore, clear as day. You're going to see these ships working. And by the way, they're black smoke and everything you're going to see. Guys, I'm telling you, I can go on and slam them all I want. Again, we talked, I want transparency. I want them to not leave us with the problem. And I want our government to do their damn job. And I don't care what side of whatever you're on, these people are here for us. I want them to do their job, and I want them to ensure the future and the prosperity of the American people. And go ahead.
No. My question is, like, where did they start with having a sample? Like, I know that they did the couple off of Block Island. Was that like their test spot so that they could then move it out?
It's very covert. I can't. They've been doing these things so for instance, there's 9 companies right now. I don't know if you know that, right? There's 9 companies building out there, but they'll say, oh, we're building 60 windmills. Well, that's only 60 of well over 1,000, right? Because there's 9 companies doing it, and it's very slick. And especially when you're going through COVID, let's talk. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going through COVID and everyone's worried about this and worried about that. And these things are getting passed and these people's hands are getting greased and all this kind of stuff's going down. We don't even know about it. And most people, like you being on a captain and on the ocean, you've seen it. So if you're not out there and you don't get it, then you don't get it. It doesn't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
And it will affect us. It will affect Massachusetts. It will affect Rhode Island, and it will affect Connecticut. And it's going down the border, not to mention the lease areas that are being given away in Maine, which makes us look like a nothing. So there's a lot. I'm trying to keep it all in its place.
Ralph, can you help me out here? So where exactly is this location? So like I know the 5 on the south side of block. Trevor, you're talking about Cox Ledge. I'm
Cox's
not familiar
Ledge,
with
that's where they
that
put
is,
it.
but, so Ralph, you're talking about potentially 1,000
more than that.
Okay, with 9 different companies. Are all 9 companies putting them in the same area, or are we spreading?
Yes, it's going from Cox's Ledge all the way out to the shipping lanes. So there's a place called the shipping lanes that comes across the top from Nantucket that comes across, and there's an area called the dump, which is this square box that is where munitions and stuff have been dumped. And it's funny how they just literally like put these things right around it. I don't have it on me because I'm at home, but I can show you. There's a very good way to go and simply see all this. It is available for you if you want to dig. And anybody that's watching this can reach out to me, and I will show you how to find it for yourself so that you're just not listening to, some salty dog. You're listening to seeing the truth.
So basically, like, just for argument's sake, we're just saying like it would be like east of Nantucket.
Yes. No.
West.
No. West.
Yes,
west.
west.
West of
I'm looking at
Nantucket.
it upside down, but yeah, west of Nantucket.
West of Nantucket, all the way basically out. They're not going to Block Island, so
yeah,
you're gonna take it in miles from Block Island, and it's 1.5 times the size of Rhode Island.
Okay.
And where
go ahead. Sorry.
No, that dumping ground that he's talking about, like there's like all kinds. They've dumped like all kinds of bombs and all kinds of crazy stuff in this place. Like
we don't even know.
Yeah,
but
we
they're
don't
not
even
there.
know.
They're not allowed to go in there,
Yeah.
So they stay away from there because, it's funny because they literally have, who knows what's down there, right?
Yeah.
Midway USA brand product designers have one straightforward goal: develop high-quality, technically sound products and deliver them to customers at reasonable prices. If you are immersed in the shooting sports industry and pay close attention to every single detail, you know our products are built right and stand up to everyday use. Who has shooting mats and range bag systems to hunting clothing and just about everything for the outdoors? Log on and shop 24/7 with super fast shipping. MidwayUSA.com.
Hey everyone, this is Captain Steve Roger from Into the Blue TV. And as soon as I feel a little break from this heat, I know that hunting season is upon us. Actually, the first time I ever went hunting, a buddy took me. Wasn't my father or my grandfather. In fact, I took my father on his very first hunt. Well, Academy Sports and Outdoor Stores has everything to gear up for the field for less. Plus, you can shop a wide selection of ammo, shotguns, deer corn, rifle, feeder, game cameras, camo, and more from the brands you trust. Text HUNT24 to 22369 to take $20 off a $100 purchase when you shop hunting supplies at academy.com. Need a hunting license? Pick it up in store while you're shopping.
Wife's off here in the corner. Hello, baby doll. But yeah, it's all that area that's going out in the Rhode Island Sound, and it's been leased by the government. And there's also the other side of it is that let's think about the East Coast, right? We're such the population is just so diverse, is so overpopulated. They got nothing. So when you got money, what do you want to do? We got to find new ground. Well, that new ground is underwater. And they're going out there and they're industrializing our ocean, right? And they're turning our ocean into, in a way, not pavement, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And they're putting these huge things up, and then their life expectancy. So this is what's happening right now is supposed to happen to us for 10 years, right? 10 years is this to build all these. Well, what's going to happen in that 10 years? let's say you're a migrating tuna, right? 10 years of being pounded, just hearing like, it's like the old joke, a man with hiccups for, a year. What's he saying? He goes, kill me, kill me. And if you're a whale coming through those areas, you're going to go around it. If you're a tuna, you're going to go around it, right? Or if you're a striper or whatever you are, you're going to avoid it, right? And so, do we know this for a fact? I will say no, but I've been on the water long enough that I got to say, common sense tell me, yeah. And all these whale deaths and all these boat strikes, yeah. You know what? Fuck you. Your boat strikes, all right? No, these whales are dying. We had 2 more found in the last 2 days. This is not common. There's two more in the last 2 days. Now we haven't even touched what they're going to do to birds. Okay, and we haven't even touched what they could potentially do to birds. And then the other part of it is, God, I can go on forever, guys. It's really frustrating for me. Is that right now there's been a mandate by the United States Coast Guard that if you go within 1,500 feet of a windmill, you have to talk to them. You have to tell them that we're in this area, right? We have to get approval to go in this area for our safety. Well, wait a minute. We're supposed to be, Orsted's supposed to be, or all these companies, which have changed names left and right, by the way. Please follow that and how they change names. But we go into these areas because there should be structure and there should be fish around these things, and it should benefit us, correct?
Right, like, that's what they're saying.
It should benefit us. It should be like, hey, boys, come on in and enjoy the betterness of wind farms. And I hate wind farm. I fucking hate wind farms. They're not windmills, whatever. I hate that word. I hate that I even said it. But we can't go into those areas. And the Coast Guard has already said that mariners in trouble. They're not going into these areas. If you're on a Black Hawk and you've got a 850-foot structure, above the water, and blades that are 370 feet, and you're a mariner in distress, and you're in a Black Hawk, look, at night, you don't know where the hell those things are. And we've seen radar and what it looks like at night. Oh, it is a nightmare. So there's so much more, and not to be a conspiracy theorist, there's so much more on national defense. There's so much more on all these things that has not been approached, because then you become a wild man. You become a problem.
Well, look at this. So if we have 1,000 windmills, whatever these
that's
giants,
on the low end, by the way.
Yeah,
but yep.
Yeah. So we have just for relative sake, we have over 1,000 windmills out there. Literally on a and you having a military background, on a terrorist attack, you're literally knock out the grid by attacking these windmills.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're going to come to those windmills, you're not. By the way, they're going to hack out our grid. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to take it. They're good enough. They're going to black us out at a substation. Okay. And by the way, the substations that are out there, that's a whole nother thing. They're like having an oil rig. They're like an oil rig out there. So unless you've been out there to see it, you're talking about a huge oil rig out there. This is what converts all the electricity, right? They won't attack that. If that was to be the case, they'll come through it. Okay. So that's just something that is out there, but it's also something that I would think our government would think about, and that we're opening up a platform for people that, let's be honest, a lot of people don't like us because I can talk to you and tell you how I feel. Mm-hmm. People don't want to hear how I feel.
That's true.
In many places around the world, many places I've been, if I have an opinion like this, I won't be talking to you tomorrow. Okay. True. And so, that's the truth of it, and not to be like some crazy person, but there's so many levels of this that are inappropriate and that have not been addressed. And I just want them to address it. I want them, they have the responsibility to us, not us to them. They have the responsibility to ensure that they are going to do the best for the American people, not just the politicians, but these companies. If they're going to leave us with the devastation, then we have people to blame, but guess what? They'll be out of office. Okay. And again, not being red or white or red or blue, none of that. All right. But I don't want that. We have the ability to survive as ourselves. We have the ability in this country to grow, be better. And by the way, I don't know about you guys with your parents, but my parents always told me, if you can't love yourself and you can't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of other people. That's the same thing with our country. If we can't take care of ourselves, why are we taking care of other people? Think about it. This is not going to take care of us. It's going to hurt us. The electricity bills are going to go up.
Go on with that. What makes you? Because in theory, right? In theory, this should make our electricity bill go down. That would be the whole point of doing it. So what do you see that makes you think that it would actually make them go up?
So when you look around the world at different places that have had windmills, their electricity has basically gone up in general. The upkeep on these things, the price of what it costs to put it into place, to get it connected to the grid, to do everything, it costs more money, and then we have to pay for years to get to the point to where it'll start to benefit us. By that point, these things have fucking failed, and now we're screwed.
And they're in the ocean.
So there's so much overhead just to begin with. You're never even paying off the debt. So speaking of failure, we touched on the one there where the blade exploded not too long ago. What kind of information do you have on that as far as like what caused it? Do you know how old that one was?
Or? Oh, it was brand new. I mean, it was brand new. It was new. There's different. They had another one blow up overseas from the same company. They're saying that it's just basically a structural issue that they didn't test. They haven't built these windmills at this. I'm not a gearhead, but let's just say you got a Mustang and you got an 800 horsepower engine, but you say, oh my God, we could put a 1500 horsepower engine in this thing. And then it blows up and you go, well, I wonder why. Well, it's kind of, I don't know if that's an appropriate analogy, but they're going bigger and the thing failed. Now, by the way, to my point that I said earlier, that's not my fucking problem.
Right.
That should have been what they did. That should have never happened. And by the way, their response to that has been lackadaisical and awful. It was the first time we saw how they're going to respond to a failure, and they suck. They didn't do anything. It's showing up everywhere. They have not done. So it's one blade. One blade.
So who's they? Okay, so my question is
offshore wind. The companies. So there's multiple companies that are involved in that. So you can't. I would ultimately blame Ørsted and
offshore wind.
Yeah. So
offshore wind.
So my question is, we've already established there's multiple companies. 9 different companies erecting these structures. Are they subbed out by a particular company? Like, who owns these in the long run? Are they owned by 9 different companies, or 9 different companies erecting them for somebody else?
Do you think that I have that information?
I was kind of hoping you did. I mean,
dude, it's so ultimately in my mind, and I could be wrong here, but I will say this. I think that it is big oil companies that are doing this because they realize that fossil fuels are being phased out and they had to go in a different direction. If you're a business and you have to go in a different direction, this is a good way to go and keep profitable and make their money, because that's what they're all about. You and I mean, I don't know what you do. You go duck hunting, or you go deer hunting, or you go tuna fishing. But I'm not going down and getting on my $100 million boat. Okay?
Go to work every day.
I go to work every day, and I'm trying to make this world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say, I can't point that finger, but I would say that it's Ørsted at the key of this. I mean, and this is tough for me because Mystic Aquarium, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love the place. I paid for years for my grandchildren and my family to go there to have, they took money from offshore wind, which they say is educational, but now they're going to have this offshore wind project at Mystic Aquarium. But then when you have Mystic Aquarium come out and checks these dead whales, and they give you whether we can't determine this, or they say it's this or that, can you trust them? I'd say I gotta think twice about it. I gotta think twice about it. All right. Then when you have like Orsted in the state of Rhode Island just donated a bunch of money to Brown, URI. I don't want to be misquoted on this. They donated a lot of money for education on offshore wind, and that's a great way to be a bribe. It's a phenomenal way to be a bribe.
It's a modern day mob, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
it's a bribe.
Yeah,
it's a bribe. So the other day, I don't know if you guys saw the meeting in Newport that happened with the lady that got up to speak. And there was a person that came up and stuck a bunch of stuff in her face. Did you guys see that?
No, we didn't. No, I didn't.
Right. So basically, long and short of this, and this is something that I put up on my social media that pretty much was just dampened by social media and the entities that survive. This guy went up, took this stuff, which was parts from the windmill, and shut her down, and then abused her. Abuse is a good word, but they couldn't find him for like 5 days. But then someone in their reporting sees that he is standing next to Sheldon Whitehouse, and the tattoos are all solid as the day is long. It's the same guy. So then we call it out, and we point the fingers, and we put 1 + 2 = this, and it just gets shut down. That guy's down. That's when that your government is in as thick as thieves. That's when that there is something else going on. And going back to that transparency word, there is no transparency.
Just who's Shelton Whitehouse?
He's the senator of Rhode Island.
Just so people that are listening that aren't familiar, yeah.
And he just got overwhelmingly elected again in the primaries to go forward. So. And we all know Rhode Island's a blue state. I mean, that's fine. But when you see people that you actually literally catch them being involved in something and being associated with something, let's say that, being associated with something, and it just gets canceled, it makes you go, So I don't know, guys. I can go on. It's just my opinion.
We're going all over the place here. I have questions.
I know, that's my fault.
No, it's all good. I have questions about the whales. So I see them pop up on Facebook all the time. Like you said, there'll be another two. I know there's no like hard data, statistically, but like in your opinion, how much often are we seeing this now than before?
It's much more now.
100%. Yeah.
Significantly.
Significant.
It's much more now.
And the reason why I ask is because obviously there's more people paying attention now, and like with social media. So like, there's no doubt in my mind that it's more, but I'm just curious how much more, because
I've never seen it this way. And then they show, like last year we showed the guy with the whale, breaching on the boat and all that type of stuff. And I've been around whales, guys, and they're very intelligent. Same with dolphins. Yep. Anybody that's been on the ocean, you can reach over on the side of the boat and touch a dolphin while they swim with you. It's one of the coolest things you can ever enjoy. If you're lucky enough to ever do it, it's National Geographic. It's epic. All right. And the same thing with whales. They'll come around you. They're smart. They're intelligent. The only times I've ever seen whales that have ever potentially been scary would be when they have a calf, that when they have like someone protecting someone, and anybody that's a mariner that has an idea, if you see us, you have a clue. I think these whales are fucked up in the head. Like, again, they're just getting a ball peen hammer to the head with the sonar, and they're angry, they're pissed, they're disorientated. And so they call them ship strikes. Well, yeah, but they never were ship strikes before. You're in the middle of all these whales and dolphins feeding on, before tuna are. And I'm talking epic feeds. So you've probably seen that,
Hundreds.
right?
Yeah.
And no boats were getting hit.
No
boat. None of that was happening.
Our entire lives of tuna fishing, there has never been a whale ever in history that has ever hit a boat. And now we have wind farm or whatever going on out there, and now it's an occurrence.
Yeah, right. It's again. I'm going to go back to where the wind farm, and fuck you for using that word again. the wind, these offshore wind.
Offshore wind. Okay, sorry.
They have to prove to us that they are not the problem. They want to make. They're going to make our money. They're going to take our money. Let's be honest, right? They're going to be the ones that energy do we derive from, and they're going to profit from us. They have the responsibility to tell us that they are not going to destroy our environment, our economy, and yet you cannot get that from them because they know different. They don't care. They're going to take the money and run. And there's not going to be American jobs left, guys. This like the rock that's being laid. Let's just talk about the rock that's being laid around all these windmills. It came from Canada. I love Canada. I see the flag in the back on Canada. I got a ton of look, Prince Edward Island. I got a bunch of my boys up in Prince Edward Island. We were just up in Prince Edward Island. I love Canada. Okay. But why couldn't that have come from the United States of America? Right? I think we got a lot of rock.
Yeah.
Like we're New England. There's more rock here than anywhere in the world.
If I could be a rock farmer, I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Right. So
group them anywhere.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, it's just simple. Oh, go ahead, Stevie.
Well, circle back once again. You mentioned earlier, I was talking about the whales, and you mentioned the Mystic Aquarium. So, what is the aquarium saying about the influx and all these dead whales? And are they doing autopsies on these dead whales that are being found? Like, what are they saying is killing these whales? Like, what's their explanation? Because I feel like if anybody would be not biased or pro whale, would be the aquarium. So, like, what are they saying?
Never that it's the offshore wind. How's
really?
That? Okay. And let's take the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute is taking money. A lot of these are very open. You can go check this. This is very simple to fact check. You can go check these things. They've taken money, but they haven't taken money. They've been given money to educate, but they're the ones that should be doing the work to educate us. Again, they're not doing their due diligence. These companies are not doing what they should be doing to make us feel more comfortable for me not to be here right now. Right? I see people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody like answer any of these questions. Like I'll take them on.
That's fine. We can start right at the top.
Well, go down though. Basically, he's saying that a lot of these jobs are union jobs, and they are American jobs.
And there are guys making money right now in the United States of America. These jobs will not stay around once these farms are gone.
Right,
they'll be gone. And that there are studies that
if they break at the rate that they build them, they're going to be constantly putting them in.
I got to tell you, I think that the best job for anybody that's listening to this, if you're going to do this, the greatest thing you could do is learn how to fix these fucking things. You'll have a job forever. I respect, again,
is that Ryan?
Yeah, it's Ryan. Mac.
Yeah.
So, I respect people's opinions. I'm here to give my opinion that could be deemed to be wrong. And again, I'm not afraid to say that in 10 years, I hope I'm wrong. But I also, with everything I've seen, don't think I am.
So you keep saying 10 years. So I'm assuming there's like a 10-year plan. They're going to put X amount in every year for 10 years. But goalposts move. They change, right? So what happens 7 years from now? People like money. And if they're making money hand over fist, there's going to be another 10-year mark, I would imagine.
So Ryan? right?
Well,
Yeah,
he's a listener of the
supporter.
podcast.
He
Yeah, yeah,
listens
yeah.
to us
yeah.
every week. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Ryan's asking me. I trained with pile driver crews that got sent out with Orsted when they started. Okay, so that's great, and this is not any way to go after him.
Yep.
But your pile drive in the ocean, we can feel it. You can't tell me that when I was 17 to 20 miles away while they were pile driving, that I felt it in the boat and in my ears. That you can't tell me that that is not an issue to the marine ecology. Okay, and I don't, you trained with them, and it's not an insult to this. I think I know who that is, by the way. So like, I'm very careful in it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is, right. So, like, I'm reading through the lines here. Like, so Ryan's a union worker, right? He trained with the pile driver crews, so they were trained. They learned how to, do the pile driver. They're not doing anything. They're doing their job properly. They're just a blue collar guy that got a union job, hired, and this is your job.
Yep.
The point is what they're doing. There's repercussions and consequences.
It's not them personally. It's just the affection, the effect of on the ocean and what it's doing. Like a place like Cox's Ledge, the shipping lanes. I mean, the big ships come through there. You're ruining the ground that's underneath it and killing whales and porpoises and sea turtles and the breeding grounds of all of these fish that have been there for numerous years. And one of the things too is that fishing ground, and this is the most porpoises, whales, I mean cod. Remember the days of catching cod offshore? We are finally starting to see the numbers of these fish start to recycle and start to come back. And now we're actually losing all of this by this all happening. I mean, the big picture of all of this,
So for Ryan here, because I want to say this to him, so he probably doesn't realize this. I'm a retired Teamster. Right, so I get to say, hey man, on I get the union jobs and all that part of it, and I have nothing against any of that. And I've had people that have come into my office and know how passionate I am against this. I had one particular person that came into my office and said, I got to tell you something. I took Orsted's money, the Offshore Wind's money, and they're paying me $7,000 for 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, $7,000, and they did $87,000 worth of improvements to my boat. Now, who am I to judge someone in their livelihood and what they need and what's going on? I'm okay with that. That's not what I'm saying. I get it. What I'm asking for is what's going to happen in the future. What is this going to impact? How is this going to hurt or improve our fishery? And they've given no answer either way. You can't take and build a skyscraper in a pond and tell me I can't fish anymore, because you're just going to take up the whole fucking pond. So it's hard, and I'm open. I'm as much as I may seem like closed-minded, I'm very open to all of this, but I'm not being given answers that are appropriate. Again, I don't see the offshore wind companies doing their due diligence. They're just going and plowing ahead because they need the subsidies and they need certain things that they have to get done by certain times. There's guidelines that they have to hit to get the money they need. All right. I'm worried when they run and we can't get any help from our politicians right now. We're not going to get any help later, but we're going to be left with the mess out there. Let's just say that let's just take 100 wind farms, okay? Or 100 windmills. That's 300 blades. Look what one blade did, all right? What one blade did. What could that do if it was wiped out by a hurricane? It would devastate everything.
Everything,
all right? And then if it's already devastated our ecology, both marine and bird and everything, and then it's destroyed on top of it, I don't know how we come back from it. Not to mention, in my hometown of Portsmouth, Rhode Island, that they want to bring the power up the Sakana River, okay, to go to Brayton Point. This is a whole nother thing. They want to bring this from the substation up Sakana River. The most pristine waters in the state of Rhode Island, per the DEM, is the Sakana River. But yet they're going to allow them to jet drive and push everything up through those waters, put it back into the air, whether it be mercury, whatever it may be, because it's been laying under there for hundreds of years. Guys, this is the home of the Revolutionary War.
Right.
Right? Let's be fair about this. They used mercury for a lot back then. Okay?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, they they didn't realize what it did to you, and we've now got fisheries with weak fish or squitigue for people that know it, and these different things that are happening, or a striper run, and I'm concerned about all of it. And again, I understand I'm not making everyone happy here, but I don't see the offshore wind companies giving us some form of document that we can use to hold them accountable. And that's what they won't give us. They don't want something that we'll be able to hold them accountable, because if it goes wrong, they don't know the answer, nor do we.
And I totally agree. And going up the Sakana River, when you start doing something like that, is a huge impact in a long-term time, right? Like, no questions asked. We had and it's kind of crazy, and I think that you're the right person to have this conversation with, because I haven't really talked about this. So here in Connecticut, and you're probably pretty familiar with it, we had the Thames River, right? And it was one of the best holdover striper places in the country, in my opinion, right? We would go catch hundreds and hundreds of fish in the winter, right? And it was one of those areas, and you would catch, 6 inches. So that they're breeding in this river, right? They will say that they don't, but blah, 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 whatever the case may be. There was a time when I was a kid, and we would fish down there religiously. And it started to slowly, we would lose the population year after year after year after year. And I started to think about this, because this kind of, it just ticks in my mind. It was the same years that they started to use the calcium chloride on the roads. And they were pushing all of the snow in and banking it all up along the river in all these big parking lots, and it would slowly leak into the water, and then those fish wouldn't return. Then you're literally killing the memory out of those fish to come back every single year. What do you think something like this is going to do, even if it impacts it for a short term, where those fish literally lose the memory out of going to Cox's Ledge? They'll never return, even if it gets better.
I think that's a good thing. I think the memory is going to pass all of Rhode Island and go out past the shipping lanes, through the Gulf Stream, and come around and come through. But right now they're already fighting, by the way. So then they go through, and there's been a big striper influx in PEI. I don't know if you know that, Madman. There's been a big influx of striper up there. And now they're already talking about windmills in Nova Scotia. They're already all the way up there, man. They're already doing this. I've had these conversations. They're basically going to put these things up and down I just don't think, again, they've done their due diligence to prove to us, the people who live here, who have invested our lives, guys, I don't even want to be a multimillionaire, to be honest with you. I work for my money. I'm proud of it. But I'm worried. I'm worried about, and this is just on the ecological side, let alone the other things I've worried about in this country. So I think I'm missing a couple of questions. So I'm going to open this up to let people smack me in the face and ask me questions.
Instagram real quick, because I can't see that. But while you check, I got something funny to tell you. So your salt story, right, with the Thames River.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of that salt used to get stored at the State Pier in London. You know what I'm talking about? Under the Gold Star Bridge.
Yep.
Do you know what's there now?
That's where the windmills are. They're
So
getting banked out of.
Rid of the salt piles and put all the pylons there.
Yeah.
And that's where they're shipping them out of.
Fiberglass is not biodegradable. We know this.
No.
All right. So we go to these things too, right? They already talk about in all of our clothes when we wash our clothes and all the micro fiberglass that gets into our water system and all this. These things are going to come into our fish. You're going to eat them with your kids. Come on, man. We're just asking for. We're not asking for much. None of us are asking to take over the world, to be Bezos, or at least I'm not. Okay. No. But I also don't want what my wife and I have served for. Right now, we're quite honestly offended. What we gave 20 years of our life to, this is not what we gave 20 years of our life to. We're offended by this. We're offended by the way that we're being treated. We're offended by how ignorant the government thinks we are. Right? We're offended by the fact that they think we're just a bunch of fucking schmucks. And I'm asking for more answers from them, which I deserve as their constituent. Period. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Whether you're just looking to stay warm during a hunt or need maximum concealment, the clothing you wear can make or break a hunt. At MidwayUSA.com, we understand hunting clothing has come a long way with more meticulously crafted camo patterns, advanced scent control technologies, and weatherproof options to withstand the elements. Hunters have to wait until their favorite season, but shouldn't wait on gear, which is why Midway USA offers super fast shipping. When you're ready for your next system, log on to MidwayUSA.com.
Fishing like a local isn't just about catching fish. It's about connecting with the environment and the people who call it home. It's about hearing the stories and traditions that have been passed down for generations and sharing unforgettable moments with the people you meet along the way. Fishing like a local is having an experience that stays with you forever. And with Fishing Booker, you can experience it too, no matter where you are. Discover your next adventure on Fishing Booker.
At Midway USA, we know the AR-15 is one of the most popular rifles in modern American history. Known for its modularity and widespread use, it's often considered essential to any gun collection. The essential things you need to run an AR-15 are usually always in stock during shortages, things like magazines and 5.56 ammo. Whether you're looking to buy a new AR-15 or buy parts for your modern sporting rifle, log on and for just about everything for the outdoors, shop MidwayUSA.com.
Right. I got a question for you, Ralph. So, what's the name of this company? Orsted?
Orsted, yeah.
So we talked earlier about, they throw their money around, right? They've probably thrown some at the aquarium. They've thrown them at the universities and all that stuff. It's probably not enough, or definitely not enough. Have they delegated any funds to clean up, or is there like some kind of fund for?
No. So is there something in escrow? Yeah. Perfect question. Absolutely fucking not. No.
No, they don't give a fuck. What?
When they get, oh no, there isn't. There isn't. And by the way, those files are kept shut. And when you go and you ask them about it, they say that's intellectual property and we don't have to show that to you. Fuck them. That is absolutely a great question. And no, they do not have a decommissioning plan. Okay. And it's garbage. I feel like I'm yelling at
no, you're good. Just yell at it. Yeah, there.
It actually blows my mind that was the answer, because I was expecting you to say couple million, right? Like peanuts to them, which isn't nearly enough to do shit with. But we'll put a little money here just to say we did something, but they just flat out did nothing.
By the way, and even if they did at this point in time, the way I think this whole thing's going, if they put money there, there'd be some company that's there for escrow, just taking the money as a nonprofit or whatever, and just using it up and living. Yeah, I don't trust it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist.
Right.
I just don't think I'm a madman, because I've been around it, silent. Al Pacino. I've been around, I've seen some shit.
I've seen some shit.
I just didn't wake up yesterday and go, oh fuck, offshore wind. I'm not liking what I'm seeing, and I just want them to be more. Go back to transparency.
Right.
I want more transparency. I want people to educate themselves more. I want them to make a decision whether we agree to disagree. Okay. And I want to make sure that They're the ones that have to prove to me. They're the ones that have to prove to us that they're doing their due diligence. And there's no way anyone with common sense can say that about the overall picture. I'm sorry. I disagree.
And then to add to it that they have these giant generators on each and every single one of them with the emission of all of this black dust. Like, I don't understand it. I thought it was a renewable resource that was good for everything, but we have these giant generators on the side of it for maintaining. Okay.
Did you see my post on that?
I did see that. Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
right.
I did. Yes.
I've been absolutely hammered on that one. Okay, hammered. And they're saying that those generators are there to help them build the windmill and get it started, and those are going to come off. But I've also seen them on other windmills after they're working, so I don't know. Okay.
Were they diesel powered?
Yeah, they're all guys. I wish I could show you a picture. If you've seen the things I posted when I was up in PEI, the amount of oil and everything pouring out of these things, and it just, and they're on land, let alone in the ocean. Guys, it's not just the fiberglass. It's not just the devastation to the bottom of the ocean. It's not just the devastation to the birds. It's also going to be the pollution that it can cause by what's on board with these. It's not making sense. And I'd like to think that I see an uptake in awareness.
I've got my own conspiracy theory lately too.
Here we go.
So like lately, we have Eversource in Connecticut. I don't know what you have in Rhode Island, but Eversource is our power provider.
Yep.
Lately, we've had this complete shit show where our bills went through the roof, right? Yep. Like astronomical. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, what a great way to get everybody outraged and pissed off at the power companies and how expensive it is to turn around and be like, man, maybe that windmill is not such a bad idea after all, right? And it kind of, if you can convince a couple people to like think there's a better alternative, you sway more people to kind of support it blindly.
Yes, and I don't disagree. I think that there is absolutely a subversive, great, I hate to say this, going back to being a military guy, great battle plan by these offshore wind companies, right? Phenomenal battle plan to win the war. My whole point is, and this is the way I look at it, and it's some people just don't get it because they've never been in these situations. The best you are is when your back's against the wall. You got two choices. You give up and die, or you move forward and you make a difference. And when I see stuff that is wrong is still wrong, and the right path is still the right path. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to come out and be this guy. I own a business. People can hate me for my business. They can hurt my business. I have 14 employees. They know where I stand. I've talked to them about this. I worry about their livelihoods because of my voice. My family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren. The right thing to do is still the right thing to do at the end of the day. And I want awareness. I want more information. I want more transparency. I want more education on this, and they're not giving it to us.
That's the worst part about it, because they're not giving that transparency. If you had a reason, or you had some backing to what was going on, we would get on board with it. But if you're hiding all of these things and ruining what we had believed in for such a long time, it's a problem. It's literally a problem.
So when we were dealing with company here in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, I was dealing with Mayflower, and now it's South Fork. Like, it's changed names. I think this is the third name it's changed, which is also the other thing that scares me. So, they're just going to go up. We file bankruptcy. Another company comes in. Now we got nothing against them. And I've been fighting this for 3 years in our town. I have some opposition. I have a lot of opposition. But I also have, people that believe in what we're doing. But I asked him at the last time I saw this particular person that is their I don't know, their person that goes up and is the one that represents them in the media. I said, I asked you 3 years ago. Show me the environmental impact studies. Show me one now. I didn't have fucking one. 3 years later. They don't care. Doesn't matter. Their impact is our fucking problem. Again, they're going to prioritize, or they're going to privatize the profit, and they're going to publicize the problem. We're going to end up with the problem, and they're going to take the money and run. Okay?
Ralph, I'm going to put you on the spot. You made a good point earlier. So I am dubbing you the general. What would be your battle plan to win the war if you were in charge of the good fight?
I think right now that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. But I think in the way the world is right now, being aware of the way the world is, and the attention span of many people who I think it's awareness. Again, I keep going back to awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to be proud to be able to make a decision, and whether it's wrong or right, to make an educated decision, and to maybe make them think and go, man, maybe I have passed this over. And I think that's the only way we can do it. If I scream at you, and by the way, I was a drill sergeant. I'm a good screamer. Okay. I can.
You have some airbags on you, huh?
I can tear you apart in a heartbeat, right? That doesn't do anybody any good.
No.
I want awareness, and people are kind of in many cases have portrayed me as evil, or as just a total Trump 2024. Not to bring politics into this, I am a person who believes in the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I fought again for the right thing. And we're not afraid to be able to have a voice to say what we believe to be right. And we will not be silenced on that. And we will also respect and listen to other people's opinions. This is a problem in the world. Fucking be adult to agree to disagree. Okay? But too many people just won't listen. They won't change. I've heard a lot of people. I've had multiple conversations with offshore wind companies being on, I'm not going to say who they are, in like at a dinner situation, talking and listening to them and going, wow, that's some good stuff. But I'm sorry, you haven't changed my mind. You haven't done it. But I have listened to other companies. Mm-hmm. I want to also be educated. I just have a hard time getting past the point that if these are good for our country, right? Supposedly good for our country, then there is not enough information has been given us to prove that it's not going to hurt our economy, our ecology, and our way of life.
Yeah,
that's it. I don't think that's too much to ask. I mean, if you see me, you guys haven't seen me. I'm 6'5" and 300 and just close to 350 pounds. I'm a big son of a bitch. And I ain't pretty, so I'm pretty intimidating. But right. I don't mean to be. It's just that shouldn't judge. That shouldn't cloud your judgment. You should be able to want to have conversations and make the world a better place. And going back to this again, I am not against renewable energy. I am not against a better energy for this world, but putting it in the ocean is stupid.
You're putting metal in the ocean for corrosion? It doesn't make no sense. I mean,
our boats don't fucking last.
No.
So
it's like putting a fork in a socket. That just doesn't make no sense.
It makes no sense. Like you're basically putting something out there to fail, grab the money and run.
Yeah.
And we're going to be sitting here, and someone wrote over here talking about and Ryan talking about Louisiana and
Hawaii.
I've been down to Louisiana. I've fished the oil rigs. I understand what they're saying. Do you understand the potential problems that it has with all the rust and everything? We've seen one disaster with the Event Horizon, right? Deepwater Horizon, with the Deepwater Horizon. And I've seen them. I've been out there. I've seen these things rusting because they're falling apart and they leave them there. What happens when something else happens? I'm not, and it looks awful. Okay. It looks awful. And by the way, for those people that are talking about that, the largest LNG plant in the world is going in down in Louisiana. There's so much going on. It's not just here, guys. I've traveled. I've been to Russia. I've been to China. Been to Cuba. I've seen people. I've seen a lot. My viewpoint is not just based off of being some hillbilly white American. I've seen the world. I've met a lot of good people, and I judge people for who they are. And I'm judging these offshore wind companies and our politicians for not being transparent, for being thieves, and making money in ways that we will have a very hard time without money to follow. And I want it to be better. That's it.
Ralph, we really appreciate you jumping on and educating and making awareness. And I will get some links from you, and I'll post them below on the actual hard copy of the podcast so that everybody can kind of follow along. And we'll post throughout the week on some social media of what's going on and kind of follow up with what is really going on here. But before we cut you loose, I got one last question that we ask everybody, and we want to know, Ralph, what drives you outdoors?
Beauty. It's my cathedral. First time I ever went out to the canyons 30 years ago. Man, it was just the most peaceful, beautiful, amazing place. And it just let you know how small you are in this world, that you are insignificant, that you are literally nothing. You are a speck, and you should respect Mother Nature. She's a beautiful, beautiful thing, but she is the biggest bitch you'll ever meet on this planet. So that's you want the answer. That's what it is. All right.
So true. It's so true. People don't understand. You spend a night offshore and a storm rolls in. You don't realize how small you are, and you mean nothing to this world, and it will take you with it. I promise you.
Absolutely. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity. I hope that people understand that I do have respect for people that don't agree with my opinion, and I have respect for a lot in this world, but I also am not willing to give up the things that I also believe in when I believe that it can hurt the future of our world, our country, and our livelihood. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.
All right, guys. Thank you.